Is it worth investing in a high cost university?
Yes, there is a reason why they are higher. As we started this podcast by saying that we're going to say the truth, we're not just going to make you happy. So a lot of the times people who say the truth, go and listen to them. But bottom line is, it depends on the student.
So most important is do not put yourself
And
in
your family.
And your family in that pressure that is going to make you do all the wrong things.
Because it doesn't matter whether you go to BPP or you go to Bristol, you will do the wrong things.
Wrong thing.
Ask questions. Don't just blindly follow what the agent or the study abroad counselor is saying. Biggest problem. Most Indian students, because they're idhar jao, idhar jao. That's the biggest fault. Don't do that. Question them. Double, triple question them. Not everything they say is correct.
If you are looking to study abroad, then watch this full video and subscribe to our channel to stay updated.
Do you believe top universities, or we could say, for example, Russell Group, and then the non-Russell Group universities, do you see a difference in their outcomes for their students? Because Russell Group is very expensive.
Correct.
And then there is sort of like a mid-tier, which is between 18,000, close to 17 to 18,000 pounds,
Group.
the Millennium Group. And then there is another third category, which could be as low as 12 to 14,000 pounds per annum. In this whole spectrum, does it change the opportunity that a student can get? Is it worth investing in a high cost university?
Yes, I went to a Russell Group university, so sorry for that. I have a bias towards it. I wouldn't use the word quality, but yes, there is a reason why they are higher. But bottom line is, it depends on the student. I know of students who've not gone to Russell Group universities, extremely switched on and gotten amazing jobs. I know of students who've gone to Russell Group universities, not gotten jobs. So the university alone will not implement your job search ability. What will implement your job search success and ability is your own self. Now it is the barrier, right? Like I would say, if you go to a university which is more of a higher cost, and again, there's nothing right or wrong with this, lower cost universities, you will find that the caliber also of a large number of students will be lesser than what a higher ranked university will have. Because the entry requirement is different. Simple.
Right.
Correct? Secondly, also you need to ask the university, what is the class breakup? From what I've seen, there are some universities which are like 100% Indian students.
Right.
Now, if I'm not saying right or wrong, but the one thing that I've spoken to a lot of students, they're like, okay, why did we come out of India? Because this is Indians only. You know, we wanted that exposure. And that's why a lot of universities are getting a lot of pushback from students saying, don't just recruit from one cohort, recruit other countries as well. I have noticed that when you go to a higher ranked university where fees are higher, where entry requirements are higher, they have a more equilibrium based breakup of different nationalities.
So basically what you're saying is that go to a more diverse university
100%.
where there are lesser Indians. I always talk about that, and we're going to just put up a chart of universities and the number of Indian students they recruit, and you will see some of the really low-ranking universities at the top of the chart. Some of the higher-ranked universities, more expensive ones, kind of come at a much lower number of Indian students. But it's not that they are low in number of international students.
Correct.
So hence they are actually quite diverse.
Correct. So that's just my personal perspective. I'm not saying the universities which have a large number of Indian students is wrong. But what I would say is, if you're coming here, then it is upon the student. Okay, you might go to a university which has a high number of Indian students, but then try and interact with other societies, other people from different backgrounds. That is what you're paying for. In India, you would not have a chance to talk to someone who's from South Africa. You would not have a chance to talk to someone who's from Turkey. You would not have a chance to talk to someone who's from Nigeria. This is what you'll get in the UK. This is what you're paying for. Learn from their exposure. Learn different languages. Learn what they like to eat. I never used to eat sushi before I came to the UK. Now I love sushi. But the whole point is that, that exposure on how to talk, how to interact. That's what you're paying for. One of the simple things I'll end this point with is saying, after going back to India, when I go back to India now, I have this habit of waiting in line. And, if someone's pulling the door and let other people come in. And out here, when I pull the door and if I let the person behind me go in, they always say thank you and I say you're welcome. And in India, when I pull the door, people just walk in without saying anything. And I'm just like, what is wrong? And no one waits in line. And I'm just like, this is basic civics and courtesy. This is what you learn here. And this is what you can take back to make India an amazing country. Which it already is.
I think that's a whole part of traveling and exposure, that you learn from the best of everyone and then incorporate that in yourself. One important point also that you mentioned, Dhruv, was that if your skill set is the one that is primarily going to get you an opportunity. So if you're already highly skilled, then try to go for a top university where you will have other highly skilled people. But if you are low skilled and then you end up trying to go to a high paying university, high cost university, that can also become like a double whammy, because then kind of if you're lower in skill, going to a high cost university, does that mean that becomes like a bad choice? So like the good students should try to go to good universities, because I'll tell you, like all universities will have similar criteria. So that same student could get into like a Bristol, as well as same student can get, of course, if they can get into Bristol, they can also get into a BPP, right? And the cost would be like, Bristol would be twice the cost of a BPP. And now, if I'm like a fresher, I'm like still not very skilled, I'm like maybe wanting to go and study, let's say, cybersecurity, right? How should I make that choice? Should I say that, okay, I should go for a lower cost school because my probability of being successful is lower?
Again, it's very subjective. And again, I'm not recommending this through student circus. I'm recommending this through myself, being a former student here. Just for any clarity, if any university sees this podcast and says, oh shit, what are you saying? So just being very honest. So the one thing is there are about multiple criteria you have to look at, right? Either Bristol can be good, or even BPP can be good based on either. First, funding. Where are you getting the money from? You know, Bristol would say have a fee of say £25,000 hypothetically, and BPP would have 15. That £10,000, which is about 12 lakh rupees in INR, is a huge difference. Now, certain students, for them 12 lakhs will be the difference between going to the UK, getting a loan, or not going to the UK. You know, it's that big of a difference.
Right.
So look, if you have only X amount of money, then you beg, borrowing and stealing and then going to a highly ranked university and then having that stress makes no sense.
Makes no sense.
So it depends on the funding. And
so most important is, do not put yourself
and your family
in that pressure that is going to make you do all the wrong things.
Because it doesn't matter whether you go to BPP or go to Bristol, you will do the wrong things. Correct.
So don't do it.
Absolutely.
Don't put yourself in that pressure.
Second, look at the course structure. Ask questions. Don't just blindly follow what the agent or the study abroad counselor is saying. Biggest problem. Most Indian students, because they're split, idhar jao. That's the biggest fault. Don't do that. Question them. Double, triple question them. Not everything they say is correct. Trust me. So basically ask them pointed questions. Do your own research. Everyone in India is the fastest growing market for smartphones and data, but people spend time on Instagram and crap stuff rather than actually going and doing research on actual legitimate websites. Again, don't look at Instagram, it's crap. Don't look at TikTok, it's crap. Don't look at YouTube, which can be good if you're looking at the correct channels, but not every channel is talking right, just being honest.
Right.
So again, you have to have the cognitive ability to differentiate. Not everyone, as we started this podcast by saying that we're going to say the truth, we're not just going to make you happy. So a lot of the times people who say the truth, go and listen to them. So do your own research and look at the breakup. Okay, how many students from different nationalities, etc. Ask these key questions. Where do students end up after finishing up? Right. Not local students, international students, etc. Do a simple research on LinkedIn. You can do research of alumni groups. You can do research of people. Reddit has a lot of people working and anonymously guiding people, etc. You can do a lot of research yourself.
So basically, be informed, come prepared, and don't put yourself under that pressure.
Absolutely.
Well. And
so guys, let's take a small pause and let me tell you that I counsel hundreds of students looking to study abroad every month. And I am here to help you guys, not just with understanding your profile, which country or university is the best one for you, but help you through the admission process. And me and my team will get you your visa on time. And if you want a one-on-one counseling session with me, please go into the description. There is a link to my Calendly and you can book a one-on-one slot with me. And let's get back to our video now.
The other big theme that I want to understand and look at it more, maybe statistically, if you have some numbers, should students prefer to come to London or the greater London area?
It depends on the degree. If you're doing finance, etc., London has the big jobs. No offense to any other city. Engineering is more spread out in the Midlands, etc., where you have the large factories. Startups are in Oxford, Cambridge, and London sector. There will be startups in other sectors as well. But yes, if you're looking at some remote place
I think of UK as like 4 hubs. There's London, then there is Birmingham, there is Manchester, and then there is Edinburgh, right? So going up to like Scotland, right? Now, do you think there is any specific preference from a location point of view?
It depends on what you're studying. So if you're studying
finance is London.
Is London mostly, or bigger cities.
Right.
Bigger cities or London. The second advantage of London, and I'll be extremely honest, and sorry for any of the listeners from my partner universities who are not from London. The biggest advantage of London and larger cities is you have a lot of networking events and opportunities. You have large corporates, you have London Tech Week, for example. A couple of weeks back, there was London Tech Week. One whole week of startups, investors, people from across the world coming in, talking on new technologies, raising money, how startups work, different sectors, mindsets, all of that kind of stuff. You don't have that exposure if you're not in London. You have to come and be there.
Right.
Correct. So that way, what you get in larger cities is more exposure to events and all of those kind of things. Now, if you're in a remote place where the travel to London is £200 and you don't have that money to come and spend, how are you going to do it? You can't come every day. You can't even come once a month. So realistically speaking, it's the difference, right? The jobs are in Gurgaon, in the NCR sector, in Bombay, etc. But if you're in a small town in India, which is in between of nowhere, you will have to.
I studied from Roorkee, so
Exactly.
I mean, if I had to be in any of those kind of events, I'd had to come to Delhi.
Yeah.
Probably not even there. So,
Correct.
so you are saying larger cities is definitely helpful. So it's not just limited to London, but the other larger cities also that I mentioned. Finance, you said London. Engineering, what would you suggest?
Midlands and London, because engineering is different types, right? You have data science as well, which is a part of engineering. Startups in London hiring, in other cities also hiring, in the Midlands also hiring, because data science can be used in both manufacturing as well as in tech. But if you're looking at automobile manufacturing, aerospace manufacturing, you'll have to look at where OEMs and larger companies are. So Airbus has a huge factory near Bristol. So you'll have a lot of OEMs around that. Milton Keynes, where Cranfield University is, for example, they have their own airport. They have a lot of kind of, Red Bull's powertrains is there. Then you have Northampton, you have, Mercedes AMG, which sponsors international students for some of their roles. Again, they're based there because near Silverstone and this racetrack. Aston Martin's there as well. Bentley's in Wales as well. So again, Rolls-Royce is there, JLR is there, etc. So again, they spread out across the world, because when you look at a large company, it's not only one company, as you know, you'll have OEMs around it as well, suppliers. So you have a lot of exposure. And then when you look at startup belt, it's Oxford, Cambridge, Maine, and London, which is where you have if statistically speaking, people raising money, etc. So it depends on where you're at, but final jobs to idhar hi milenge.
Right.
There will be jobs available in Manchester and Leeds, don't get me wrong, but there will be fewer compared to these.
So you would suggest that there's a stronger preference to the London and the area around London, so that you can more inexpensively travel to London.
Absolutely, but it's a double-edged sword in this. Let me be very honest. I'll tell you why. If you stay in a smaller city, for example, you have lesser distractions. There's lesser part-time jobs, lesser distractions, lesser partying, more focus on academia. It's a whole, a campus university vibe, which is amazing. So it's a double-edged sword. As a student, you have to see what suits you. I know a lot of students who make the most of that campus vibe, because you're so buried into the whole university infrastructure, professional services, societies, academics. You're acing that, and you're doing the right by the jobs. Then once you finish, you move.
Right.
Whereas I know a lot of students, and I can see that between Tripti and myself, because she studied in central London, I studied in Bristol. Bristol is more of a university city type.
Right.
In that sense. I was more focused on my academia, whereas she loved, the clubbing and all the kind of stuff. Sorry, Tripti, but it's the truth. It's fine now. It's 10, 15 years back. Your parents will be okay with it. But, the exposure is more where she was like, oh, you know what? We'll enjoy today and we'll think about it tomorrow. Whereas for me, it's like, I'm not saying it wasn't. There was much lesser. So you have lesser options, right? That's the thing.
Large cities are preferred, more job opportunities, more part-time jobs, more exposure, more networking.
Yeah. Most of the students who are doing generic degrees are just going with bahar jana hai. Just मुझे भेजो. आप बताओ नहीं होगा फिर जो आप research नहीं करोगे तो नहीं होगा.
Now you have all this job data, right? Which domains hottest?
Data science, AI, ML, hottest. It's literally, look at the jobs. We only post roles from those companies that have a license, have a graduate job, pay a certain salary, and the best part is it's absolutely free.
So if you like this content, please subscribe to our channel, and I will see you all in the next video.